Spiritual Living. I am Rev Melissa, the Spiritual Director and Senior Minister, and I bring you greetings from Wakanda. Wakanda today. Yes, yes. Wakanda forever. Yes, yes. We went to see the movie on Friday, my husband and my girls. And if you haven't seen it yet, right after service today, if you're looking for something to do, I highly recommend go seeing Wakanda Forever. It is amazing. And the whole time that I was sitting in the theater, I kept thinking about this sermon because our topic today is roots and wings. And Wakanda, that movie, is grounded in that principle of roots and wings. So before I get too ahead of myself, let me just remind us of where we're coming from. So we're in November. We're in a new theme. Our theme for November is Ready Home. And I am home. I feel that I am home within myself, and I feel that I am home with each and every one of you. And so we started our journey in home last week with the topic, there's no place like home, right? And that immediately triggers what the Wizard of Oz, the Wiz, and we were in that vibration last week as I shared my version of the parables of the prodigal son. And just to recap that real quick, the prodigal son, that story, that parable that we find in the Bible, and we know that Jesus taught through parables. And so the two sons represent two sides of our nature, right? The directions that the force of our minds can go into. And so the elder son represents the status quo, and the younger son represents the journey to spiritual maturity, right? And we talked about what happened with the younger son and his riotous living that he was doing and how he journeyed back home and was welcomed with open arms by the father. And so I asked you all if you would consider to think about which son you are right now in your life. Do you identify with the elder son or with the younger son? Are you in a place in your life where you're just in the status quo? Are you in the riotous living? Or are you in the journey back home to yourself, back home to the Mother, Father, God, the source of all life that never leaves us, that never leaves us? So we know that there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like your home, Stacy, like your home, Cheryl, like your home, Victoria, like your home, Susie, like your home, Chris, like your home, Melissa, like your home, Rhonda, like your home, Ron, like your home, Jan, like your home, Michelle, like your home, Bonnie, like your home, everyone that's watching us on Facebook. There is no place like you, because we are the unique individualizations of the one. So there's no place like home. It's no place like home. And so that moves us in a way to, if there's no place like home, what are we doing with it, right? You think about your physical homes, right? Do you walk in and it's just blank? There's nothing there, no furniture, no decorations, no nothing. There's something in your home, right? You co-create a space in your home that feels inviting to you, right? A space within your home that feels like a deep breath. Yes. So when we think about roots and wings, I want to take us on a journey using a scene from the first Black Panther movie. So I don't know if everyone's seen the first Black Panther movie. Okay, y'all. If y'all have not seen the first Black Panther movie, they are showing double features of Black Panther, and Wakanda Forever. Now, that's a long time to be in the movie theaters. That would take you about 6 hours. So bring snacks and maybe a blanket, but you need to see it, okay? You need to see both of those movies. So even if you haven't seen it, I think you can imagine this scene. So this is somewhere maybe mid-movie. And no, more towards the beginning of the movie, actually. And T'Challa, who is played by Chadwick Boseman, is the prince, and his father has died. And whenever a new king is going to be crowned, there's an opportunity for someone to challenge that throne. And so there's 5 kingdoms in Wakanda. And so the chiefs of all those kingdoms have the opportunity to challenge T'Challa for the throne. So the day comes, T'Challa's there. He gets stripped of his Black Panther powers, right? That's part of the ritual. So he's just a mortal man, right? And the chiefs of the other nations are invited to challenge. And each one says, I will not challenge today, right? And everyone's feeling good. Woo, yes, no challenge, right? And then here comes M'Baku. M'Baku ain't playing. So his kingdom is up in the mountains, and they believe in tradition. And they have been very upset with what's been going on in Wakanda with all the technology and all of the things. So they live a very traditional life, and they resonate with the power of the gorilla. They're not playing. So he challenges T'Challa for the throne. So imagine this huge mountainside, cliffs of people standing, just crowded, looking at this challenge taking place. T'Challa and M'Baku, why could you call him M'Baku? M'Baku are fighting. They are going at it. And M'Baku is getting the upper hand. In other words, he is beating up T'Challa. He is beating him up. And at some point, it got so bad that you could see the worry on the queen's face. And the queen is played by Angela Bassett. And at the point that it looks like T'Challa might lose, Angela Bassett, the mother, the queen, Ramonda, says to her son, the prince, tell him who you are. Tell him who you are. And right in that moment, it's as if T'Challa gets superhuman strength and he starts fighting again. And it looks like he's going to win. But then in a split second, M'Baku's spear jabs him right here. And in that moment, T'Challa tells M'Baku who he is. He's in excruciating pain. But in that moment, he tells him, I am Prince T'Challa. I am the son of Chief T'Challa. And everything turns around and he whoops M'Baku's behind. But he has mercy. He doesn't kill him. M'Baku yields, and Prince T'Challa becomes King T'Challa. But everything that turned it around for him was T'Challa remembering his roots, what he is rooted in, who he is. When we are clear about who we are, even in those most painful moments, it could feel like we had been struck by a spear. Even in those moments of pain and agony, we know who we are. And in that moment, we need to remember. We need to remember. The question, who you are, took T'Challa back to his core, to his ancestry, back to the root of who he is. So we all know that Wakanda's not a real place, right? It's in Africa, but in my mind, y'all, it is as real as New York City, right? And so I know from traveling, especially traveling in West Africa, knowing who you are is paramount. It's paramount. And it's probably the case in other places too, in other cultures. Who are you? Knowing who you are is paramount. When I go to the South, one of the first things people ask me who don't know me is this: who your people? Who your people? They want to know where you from, who your people, what's your last name. They want to know, who are you? Because it's important for us to know what we're rooted in, what we are rooted in, right? And people size you up based on how much you know about who you are, about who your people are. It could just be a Southern thing, y'all. Maybe it's just my experience, but I suspect that it's not. So the power of knowing your roots, what you are grounded in, what grounds you, can serve as a determining factor in the trajectory of your life. And so in our teachings, there's also roots, right? There's a law of roots. Have you heard of the law of roots? No, because I just made it up. But Ernest Holmes writes about it in our Science of Mind text. This is what he says, and it's throughout the text, this thread of roots, of being rooted, of knowing what you are rooted in. This is what he writes. You see, each is rooted in the one creative soil, and each is individualizing out of this creative soil that which is unique. He says, man's life, woman's life, our life is rooted in the universal and the eternal, which life is none other than the life of God. All forms are rooted in one common creative mind, and the Spirit of God is the spirit of each one of us. So who are you? Who are you? Who are you? What are you rooted in? I am an individualized and unique expression of the life of God. Who are you? What are you rooted in? I'm rooted in the creative soil that is universal and eternal. And when I know that, I know that I could do all things. I could do all things through God that strengthens me. In the Christian faith, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. That's how I was raised up. One of my grandmother's favorite verses when we were going through challenges in the family. She would remind us who we are and remind us that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us, through the divine source that strengthens us. Just drop in whatever name you want that strengthens you, right? And we know in our teachings, another way that we will put that verse is, We know that God can only do for us what God can do through us. Yes? So we could persevere through any situation when we are rooted in the knowingness, in the consciousness of this eternal truth of who we are, by activating the law of roots. Activating it. So one of our companion books this month is Tapping the Power Within by Iyanla Vanzant. And it's one of her early books, and it's one of my favorites of hers. And I wanted to share just a passage of what she writes in that book. When you know who you are from the inside out, when you do what you sense is right for you, regardless of what others are saying or doing, when your first point of reference is your own thought, and when your thoughts lead you to actions which serves others as well as make you feel good, you have encountered spirituality. So we all know through our teachings that we encounter spirituality through our thinking and through our feeling. And I like to think of thinking and feeling as our wings, right? We have two wings, we have two arms. Birds have two wings, right? Our thinking and our feeling wings, right? And so I believe that encountering spirituality is our return home to the truth of who we are by using these wings, by using our thinking and by using our feeling. Yes? So everything that we need, we have. Everything that we need to soar is encoded in us. It's part of our spiritual DNA. So when we return home to who we are, that place that there is no other place like, when we return home, the wings that were once bound, the wings that were once bound are now free. When we return home to the truth of who we are, when we take flight through our thinking and through our feeling, oh, we could soar. We could soar. I think I could fly all the way to Wakanda. Right? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The principle of the science of mind and the science of heart teaches us that feeling is at the center of the universe and reflected through our consciousness, and it sheds, it glows wherever our thought travels. So right now, my thought is traveling to Wakanda, y'all. Our thoughts can return us home when we feel lost, when we feel like we're in a battle for our very lives. Our spirit sings out to us, tell them who you are. Tell them who you are, beloved. Tell them what you are rooted in, what you are rooted as. Tell yourself the next time you feel lost and far, far away from home. Because our wings are rooted in the authenticity of who we are. Many of us are under the illusion that we could be other than that which we are. I have to tell y'all, we cannot. We cannot. That is a fool's game. Sooner or later, that spark that is simmering within you will no longer be denied. And you will feel a little fluttering. That's that wing. What you thinking? Come on now. We're here for great things. God is our source. It is time to soar. And then that other wing will start to get to fluttering. And you start feeling something within your spirit, within your soul that reminds you again. Oh, I am divine. I am so good. The one that I love to tell myself is, I am delicious. Yes. The authentic you will not be denied. It will not. It is much harder to deny your authenticity than it is to be authentic. Not being authentically who you are is a lot of work. It goes against our very nature. So who are you? Those who know the source of who they are renewed. Are renewed. So now it's time to take flight. Tell them who you are. Tell yourself who you are. So that final scene, there's a final scene in the first movie of the Black Panther. And it ends with King T'Challa and his sister Shuri at a basketball court in Oakland, California. And there's a young boy who approaches King T'Challa because he's like, wait a minute, he just came out of the sky in this thing that I've never seen before. Like, what is happening? And so the boy goes over to him and he asks him what? Who are you? Who are you? And so I'm asking you the same question. Who are you? Who are you? We are light. We are the creative soil. That is what we are rooted in. We are unique. We are glorious. We are the life of God. That is who we are. Wakanda forever, y'all.